Today we'll be making pop art style self-portraits. To do this, I am going to have a black and white portrait printed off. It's about 8 by 10. I increased the contrast so you can see like my darks are very dark, my lights are very light, just to help simplify it. I have a clear sheet and I'm going to be using sharpies, both regular black sharpies and some colored sharpies as well. I'll also be using some Crayola markers or any type of washable marker, some water, a paintbrush, and later on also some watercolor paper, so it has to be a little thicker. I'm starting off with my clear sheet on top of my printed out face, and I'm going to go ahead and trace the main lines of my face with a Sharpie marker. I'm using like a regular size Sharpie. If you wanted to, you could use a thin one, but I wanted the thicker lines. I'm going to go ahead and start by tracing the outline of my face, and then I'll also go ahead and trace my eyes. And like I said, I did a high contrast photo for this so that it would kind of simplify some of the details on my face, making it easier to just kind of trace the lights and the darks. I'm going to go ahead and outline my eyebrows. And now notice I'm using my left hand to make sure that my picture doesn't move while I am doing this. If it helps you, you could always add a little piece of tape to prevent your page from moving. I'm doing the bottom of my nose, my smile lines, and then I'm going to go ahead and trace the inside part of my mouth first. And then I'll go ahead and trace like the outside of my lips. If you want to, you can go ahead and make lines for where your teeth come, or you can just leave them without. It's up to you. I've got pretty giant teeth, so I decided to go ahead and trace the lines. I'm also going to trace any areas where I have a little bit of a color change. You can see my darker hair next to my face versus my lighter hair that is on the side of my head. I'm just kind of using some zigzaggy type lines for the bottom of my hair. I'm trying not to drag my hand through the Sharpie. The Sharpie does dry rather quickly, but just to make sure, trying not to put that hand in there. If you want to, you can add a couple extra lines in the hair just to kind of help show the direction that the hair is growing or moving. My picture was from when I was outside, so there's a little bit of wind. I wanted to show just a little bit of that movement in my hair with some lines. All right, I think I've got everything that I wanted to trace. You can always kind of pick up your picture, the clear section, just to kind of check to make sure that you got everything. I realized I forgot to do the top part of my shirt. I also wanted to add a little bit more detail by my eyes, so I'll go ahead and add those things in. Okay, so there you have it. I'm grabbing some Sharpies. I decided that I'm going to use a color scheme when I create my picture here. I'm going to use a warm color scheme, so I wanted to use only warm colors. I'm going to flip my picture over, and I'm looking for my warm colored Sharpie. Which one do I want to use for my hair? That one was a little bit too light. So I'm going to go ahead with the next darkest one here. And I'm liking this one. This is red. So I'll go ahead and start with my red here. And I'm going to start with the hair. Regardless of what color hair you have, you can pick one color to start with the hair. And I normally have blonde hair, but I think it would be kind of fun to go a little bit crazy with my colors. So you can really use kind of whatever color scheme you'd like. You could make all of them cool colors, or you could do like the primary colors, red, yellow, and blue, the secondary colors, the orange, green, and purple. So it's just kind of up to you. I decided to go warm, and my red was getting kind of dry, so I've got this kind of orangey color that I like even better anyway, so I'm going to use that on my hair. Now for this section, we are not coloring our entire portrait with these Sharpies, okay? We're working on the back of our clear sheet, and I'm only going to color in my hair and eyebrows, my eyes, and my lips. I think everything else I'm gonna leave without any Sharpie on it. So I just want to cover those certain sections here of my portrait. So my hair, my eyebrows, my lips, and my eyes. Everything else I will leave without any Sharpie. And all of my colors I'm going to use for this project are going to be in my color scheme. So pick a color scheme and stick to that the entire time. So I'm going warm colors, which are red, orange, yellow. You could even throw some pink in there. Those are the colors that I'm going to try to stay with. All right, so you can see I went ahead and colored in my shirt, and then I also did my hair. So the shirt is optional. I thought it might be nice to add a little bit of yellow to it. Now I'm going to work on my watercolor paper. And to do that, I'm going to be using some washable markers. This will only work if the markers are washable. And I'm going to start by coloring some random patterns on my watercolor paper with my markers. And I just thought it would be kind of fun to add this like design that kind of streaks across my paper with my colors. So you can see I'm adding more and more to my design. I've added some orange. I thought it'd be fun to maybe add a little bit of a flare that's different. So I'm kind of thinking along like the tie-dye lines. I just want something really bright, really colorful, a lot of fun to paint later, which is what we will be doing with these washable markers. So I just wanted to make kind of a fun design using the colors in my color scheme. Okay, grabbing my paintbrush. I'm just using a round paintbrush and some water, and it's time to paint. So basically, for painting the marker, you just kind of run your wet paintbrush over the color, and it should kind of pick up some of that color from the marker and move it around your paper. So I'm going to go ahead and just keep adding water, as you can see, to different areas of my paper, and it is blending the colors together, just like kind of a tie-dye effect, which is what I'm looking for. So the more marker you have, the more color you will have on your paper. Obviously, I left some areas of my paper white, but the color is spreading to those areas anyway. So If you kind of scrub at the marker a little bit more, the color spreads more. If you just kind of let it sit, then you'll probably be able to see some of your marker lines. It's really up to you as to which effect you prefer. But I do want to try to at least get the entire background of this paper colored. Now, another fun thing to do is just to kind of add drips and drops of water all over when you are finished. If the paper is still just kind of damp or wet, this will kind of add these like little blossoms is what I call them, of water and color. It just kind of might make it another interesting effect for the page. Now, after this step, it is very important to let your paper completely dry. So, I can add a little bit more color with my washable markers, but after this step, we really have to kind of let the paper all dry out, because it is important to have a dry paper for the next section. All right, so my paper is dry. I let it sit for a little bit, and now I'm going to fill my background with words that describe me. And you can use different kinds of text if you want. So you could have some print, some cursive, some bubble letters, whatever. You could get super creative with that. I decided for mine, I'm just going to do all of mine diagonal and cursive. And I'm just thinking of words that describe me. So I have like creative, artistic, enthusiastic, optimistic. Anything that describe my personality, or maybe even like what I do. I could do like I'm a teacher, or I'm an artist, I'm a mother, I'm a wife. Any of those things could go in there as well. So just trying to think of words that describe you, or describe what you do, or who you are, your station in life, things like that. I'm an educator. So yeah, I'm just trying to think of all kinds of different words, and I wanted to make sure to add them to what will be my background for my project. I do want to make sure that these words fill this paper, so think of whatever words you can add that describe you and have them fill up the entire background. I'm using cursive. You could do all kinds of different fonts. It doesn't have to be diagonal. It could just be horizontal. Notice too, the Sharpie that I'm using to write these is also in my color scheme. So I am sticking with those warm colors. This is kind of like a peachy orange Sharpie, which matches my warm color scheme. Okay, so there you have all of my words on my dry background. Now I'm going to take my picture and decide where I want it to go. And you can kind of move it around a little bit just to see like where the words fall. I've got this kind of the different color schemes that are going through on my face. So I'm trying to decide kind of the best spot to put those in. Next, you can add it to a background, and voila, you have the finished piece. I recommend using staples to attach the final piece. All right, thanks guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I can't wait to see how yours turn out. Come back again for more art fun, all right? We'll see you next time.